Boston Celtics now one win away from sweeping the Brooklyn Nets. How did they do it? Robert Williams came back. How did he look? We're going to talk about it right now on a bonus podcast, Locked On Celtics, right now.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
John Karalis here from the Locked On Celtics podcast. Thank you for making the show part of your daily routine and your first listen every day. Today, it's Saturday night, Sunday morning. I'm here in the remains of, if you're watching on YouTube, the Barclays Center behind me. They're tearing up the floor, not tearing it up for good because there is still a game 4 to play, but that might be the last time this floor is assembled until next season, because the Celtics came in here and took game 3, 109-103, and now lead the series 3-0. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a book called The Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars, and I was one of the media voters for the Celtics 75th anniversary team. And now I'm here at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, after this game. And this, like I said, bonus podcast. So I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. Let's do this first. Today's show brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on the market. Head on over to built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. You're going to get 15% off every single time you use it. So get one of the best tasting protein bars. Use it as a snack. Use it as a meal replacement. Use it when you go to the gym and you want to get it after a workout and get your protein, 17 grams of protein, only 130 calories or so in these bars. Locked 15 is going to give you 15% off at built.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Athletic Greens AG1. I use AG1 every morning because it's literally, it's something I use literally every day because I wanted to get some added nutrition, the nutrients in my body that I know, like today, I'm running around, I'm crazy. I'm like running in and out of like a coffee shop just to get something quick. I know I'm not going to get everything I need. AG1, 1 scoop in a glass of water is going to help me out. It's lifestyle friendly, so paleo, keto, vegan, dairy free, all of that stuff. It works for you. AG1 was founded by Athletic Greens was founded by a guy who had a ton of gut health problems. AG1 costs $3 a day. He was spending $100 a day. So get this scoop, 1 scoop of AG1 in a glass of water every day. And that's going to get you right. So Athletic Greens is offering you with the promo code, with the address, athleticgreens.com/NBA network, athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase, and you're going to get this great AG1 powder that's going to help you take control of your diet, and it's going to give you basically the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Okay, now that we've talked about that stuff, I can talk freely about the Celtics win here. All right, so what happens in this game? Game starts out with the Celtics, I think, always in control here. The way I can sum this up is basically at halftime, the Celtics were up 3, and everybody in the Barclays Center here, like all the media, were just sitting there saying, how are the Celtics only up 3? They felt like they were in control, constantly going up 10, then giving up a run, going back up 10, giving up a run. They never felt like they were having issues. They never felt like it was like, oh God, Brooklyn might take this game. They might sneak this one. I never felt like that at all. How did the Celtics do this? Well, first of all, they really limited Kevin Durant. Now that meant that Bruce Brown was going to go off, and the Celtics were actually okay with this. They're okay with Bruce Brown going off because Okay, so he was shot 10 of 19, he had 26 points. And you think, wow, all right, well, if you were to tell me before the game that Kevin Durant and Bruce Brown were going to combine to score 42 points, you'd be like, okay, we can, if you're from the Brooklyn side, say, okay, we can live with that. But not when it's Kevin Durant scoring 6 of 11, 16 points on 6 of 11 shooting. And why is that the trade-off that you're willing to make? Because if you let KD have the shots that Bruce Brown got, Bruce Brown had 26. If KD got those same shots, the same looks, he would have had 46. And this is the trade-off that the Celtics want to make. They were, again, very physical with Durant. They did a great job throughout this game, 6 of 11. Think about this. It's game 3. We're here in Brooklyn. It's game 3. You're down 2-0. Think of it from a Brooklyn perspective. You're down 2-0. You've got Kevin freaking Durant. You got Kyrie Irving. But Kevin Durant's the guy. And he's going to come in here in game 3 in front of this home crowd. And what's he going to do? Get 11 shots? He's going to take 8 fewer shots than Bruce Brown? Are you kidding me? This Celtics defense, elite. Just by holding him to 11 shots. And he made 6. He shot well. He shot 54.5%, 2 of 3 from 3, but only 2 free throws and 5 turnovers. The Celtics made a killing off of Brooklyn turnovers. This the other way they won this game. If you go through and see the points off of turnovers, as I'm trying to do right now, the internet here not cooperating with me, but Celtics got 37 points off of 18 Brooklyn turnovers. 37 points off of Brooklyn turnovers. They did a great job limiting Durant. When Durant tried to make passes, they were getting deflections. Then they turned those deflections into steals, and they turned those steals into points on the other end. The Celtics, meanwhile, doing a great job overall over the first 3 quarters. Tatum and Brown moving the ball. Tatum, 39 points, 13 of 9 shooting, 6 assists, 6 steals. So his steals were kind of a direct reflection of the defense that he was playing on Durant. But the 6 assists, and Jaylen Brown had 5 assists, 23 points, 5 assists, 9 of 16 shooting for Jaylen. Those assists all came like earlier on, first, second, third quarters. Fourth quarter, it was star time. And this is the most amazing stat in all of this list of amazing stats. In the fourth quarter, the Celtics held Durant to 1 of 1 shooting and Kyrie of 1 of 4 shooting. 6 combined points. Tatum, 14 points in the fourth quarter on 5 of 8 shooting. Jaylen Brown, 4 of 6, 9 points. Jaylen feasted on Blake Griffin. You want another crazy stat? Blake Griffin came in the fourth quarter and started just drilling these 3-pointers. He scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. Blake Griffin and Seth Curry scored 8. Now, Seth scored a bunch of his late, but Blake in 6:25 of the fourth quarter scored 8 points and was still a -1. That's how much they picked on him. He came into the game, and this is supposed to be the big adjustment for Steve Nash. You bring in Blake Griffin, and yeah, he sets a pick that got sprung somebody. I think it was maybe Patty Mills for a 3-pointer. And here comes Blake. He hits a couple of 3-pointers, but on the other end, Jaylen just mercilessly picking on him. And so Jaylen scores 9 points in that same stretch, 7 in a row. Then he has an assist to Jayson Tatum for a 3, and then he scores another basket. And it's all the fourth quarter is just the Celtics picking on matchups. When I was first breaking down the series and I said Celtics in 5, that was one of the things that I was thinking. I said, the Celtics can pick on a bunch of weak links in this series. And Brooklyn doesn't have anywhere they can go. This fourth quarter here, this stretch run was exactly what I was talking about. This proved my point beyond any other thing that could prove my point. This did, because this set the Celtics up for just bucket after bucket after bucket. This Tatum went after matchups. Kyrie had 5 fouls. So not only did they pick on a weak defender, they picked on a weak defender with 5 fouls. They went after Blake. They went after Seth Curry. Whatever weak matchup they could go at, they went at. And on the other end, you get it to Durant, and who's he got on him? He's got Tatum. You had Robert Williams sometimes. You had Al Horford sometimes. You had no weak links. How many times did Ime Udoka over the course of the season say, we don't have weak links on our defense? Like, you can see the entire regular season building up to this type of series in the playoffs. They built a defense that was physical, that was dynamic. They switch everything and they keep people in front, and it doesn't matter. Grant Williams did a fantastic job switching on to Kevin Durant. You think that's a mismatch? Should be, but he's physical, and the cumulative effect of wearing down Kevin Durant makes it easier for Grant Williams to guard him. Then Grant switches on to Kyrie and does a phenomenal job staying in front of him there. Grant has had an underrated, great defensive series. But everybody's been playing great defensively for the Celtics. Now, it's not always perfect. Jaylen had, early on pissed off Ime Udoka by completely losing Kevin Durant, and they'll have those lapses from time to time. But this is a well-oiled machine at this point for the Celtics. Defensively, they are everything that you could ask for. And then we had Robert Williams in this game. He returned. He looked pretty good. He had one of my favorite moments in this game was Robert Williams catching the lob, just destroying Andre Drummond. Right on his face. Al Horford jumped off the bench like he was Michael Jordan celebrating the shot over Craig Elo, which is a very recent reference. But he was just pumped. Horford was, and after the game, Rob said, Al OG is probably the happiest for him. Which is great because I think Al understands that if they're going to be elite, they're going to need Rob to finish this off, and to finish off this playoff run. Rob showed a lot, and I think he only played two stints of 16 minutes. He comes out of it feeling good. He comes out of it no setbacks, no swelling, no nothing. He feels good. So now we'll see how Game 4 goes. Maybe he can play more. Maybe you just now. I'm a proponent of, look, you come back, you start. If he's healthy, he starts and whatever. But I am actually coming around to, like, in the fourth quarter here, and in Game 4 here. If you want to bring Rob up to 25 minutes and actually play him a good 25 minutes, fine. But maybe you just roll with what's been working and just close out this series. And then you bring Rob in off the bench to really hammer it home. And this way you keep up this elite defense, and you can maybe close with Rob depending on what the situation is. I mean, if the Celtics are the way things are going, and they're starting to pop the thunder sticks behind me. So they gave out those thunder sticks, and whenever people leave them behind, they just get stepped on. However they want to close. But if things go the way I think they will in Game 4 now, we might be closing. We might be seeing them close with Luke Cornett. I know I'm kind of haphazardly jumping all over the place here. Very stream of consciousness because it's almost 2 and I want to get out of here. But at this point, you just hear Kevin Durant talk and Kyrie talk, and they're like, yeah, we got one more game. And, one more opportunity. And it's like, if you win that game, you get more than one more game. You could have 5 more games. I mean, 4 more games. It's still possible. You're Kevin Durant. You're Kyrie Irving. You can still show out, and the way they're talking, they understand. And of course, obviously, once the team goes down 3-0, series is basically over, but the Celtics still have to come out and actually do this. Game 4, come out first quarter, lay the hammer down. Just put it to bed right away. 20-5 run. Just start, and then just by the end, those guys are going to be going through the motions. Kyrie's going to pack it in for sure. KD will pack it in, and that's going to be it. Couple other points I want to make, because we'll get deeper into this for the actual Monday podcast. But since this is a bonus podcast, a couple more points I want to make. First, after the game, Kyrie Irving's talking about, the Celtics are gelling at the right time, and we're still a new team, and we're not gelling yet, and all of that stuff. Whose fault is that, Kyrie? I mean, come on, man. Have a little bit of self-awareness. You made the choice to be a new team now. You shouldn't be the 7th seed. You shouldn't be talking about this as a new team. You did this. This is like the Eric Andre clip where he turns around and shoots Hannibal Buress a bunch of times and then comes back, and it's like, I forget what the line is. Well, but that's the meme is always like, who could have seen this coming? Who could have done this? It's you, man. It's you. You did this. You can't go up there and be like, we need more time. Like, you had the opportunity to have all the time, and you chose not to do it. The other thing I think is funny, as I sit here at the Barclays Center with all this chaos behind me, the last game before this one, the chant was, "We want Boston." Careful what you ask for. I mean, I don't believe necessarily in the basketball gods. I like to joke and say the basketball gods will reward certain things, but that is when I talk about that stuff, I'm talking about just doing things the right way. When you do things the right way, things ultimately will go well. And the Celtics ended the season in the right way. They rested their guys when they needed to rest them, but they came out and they said, we don't care if Brooklyn's the team in front of us. We don't care. We'll take it. And it's like Ime knew what he was doing. Ime knew that he had the defense. Ime knew that he had the horses, the players to execute this. He knew how to defend Durant. He understood that Durant was going to be worn down at this point, that he'd been playing 40-plus minutes over and over and over and over again. He understood all of this. He knows exactly what it takes. That intimate knowledge that we've talked about time and time again with this team, with Ime in the Nets, that was all in play. Ime knew that he could bother Durant. Now, this is a best case scenario. This is the perfect way for it to go, but it's still it was still part of the plan. He knew that this was going to be the case. When I said Celtics in 5, part of that was the knowledge that KD was worn down and they had a horrible defense that could be picked on. Ime knew it. Ime went for it. The Celtics are in a position to now sweep. And another reason why they're in a position to sweep is they are now in this series, fourth quarter team. In fact, I wrote about it on Boston Sports Journal, so I'm going to call that up real quick to show you, to illustrate the point. Fourth quarter numbers. The Celtics are now, let's see here. Jaylen Brown is 5th in fourth quarter total points with 28. Tatum is right behind him with 25. Kevin Durant has 15 total. and he's shooting 27.3% in fourth quarters against the Celtics. Kevin Durant is shooting 27.3% against the Celtics in fourth quarters through 3 games in this series. The Celtics as a whole are shooting 60% in fourth quarters in the clutch in this series. I don't know if you remember back to the Miami loss at the end of the season where the Celtics came out after the game and said, you know what? This is good for us. Horford said it. Ime said it. I think Tatum said it. Said this loss is actually good. This is good. This is a playoff level game. And they had been blowing teams out over and over and over and over again. And they played this playoff level game against the top seed, and they lost. They came out afterwards and they said, this will be good for us. And they turned that lesson into what we're seeing in this series, what we're seeing on what used to be the floor behind them. They're closing fourth quarters. They almost choked away game 1, but they got it together. They regained their composure, and they got the buzzer-beating layup. Game 2, they outscore Brooklyn by 12 in the fourth quarter, and they turn that back-and-forth game into kind of almost like running away with it. And in this game, they built their biggest lead with a few minutes to go in the game. They're closing now. They're closing. So the Celtics have Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who can hunt mismatches and score and just drop, rain hellfire from above. They've got Robert Williams coming back. They've got the defense playing elite without him, and who knows what it's going to be now with him. They're closing strong. They're finishing fourth quarters. They've got some of the best fourth quarter scorers in the playoffs right now. They've got a coach who has got everybody on the same page. What more do you want? This Celtics team, people said they made a mistake by not tanking and avoiding Brooklyn. That has obviously been proven false. So now you look at this team and you say, oh my God, if they can play this level of defense throughout, this is a championship contender. These Boston Celtics are championship contenders. I can't see them being beaten right now 4 games in a series. It's going to be hard. Now, we'll look at the matchups if they advance here, when they advance here, and if it's against Milwaukee, we'll take a hard look at that series because, okay, Milwaukee can probably beat them in 4 games, 4-7, but it's not a given. I wouldn't say that's a given anymore. I don't even know if Milwaukee would be favored. Boston might be favored in that series. After what they're doing here, you say, well, if they could do this to KD, maybe they can do some of it, some level of it to Giannis, maybe. And if they don't have Middleton, well, who knows what can happen. But right now, Celtics are up 3-0 against the Brooklyn Nets. Game 4 is Monday. So I still have a Monday podcast to do. So I will gather my thoughts in a more coherent way. I just wanted to get a podcast out for you after this game because I promised the post-game bonus podcast. I got this craziness behind me and all the banging. So I want to get done here. So if you are new to the show and you want to subscribe, please do so. I'm here Monday through Friday, and I'm doing post-game bonus podcasts whenever they play. And watch the show on YouTube so you can see me sitting here at the Barclays Center or wherever I'm going to be, wherever the Celtics play next after that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you are a subscriber, you want to help me pump up those numbers, you want to get to, please share the podcast. Tell your friends, tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.